Paris, is it the cultural centre of Europe or the rioting capital of the world? I've already seen how overly aggressive policing of this town has caused violent clashes within the very heart of the city. And I've heard rumours of a sinister figure who is preaching hatred and violent attacks all over the city.
As beautiful as this city is, that's not our journey, that's not our story. Our journey is to discover the parts of this city that tourists never see, the dark corners and the underbelly of this great and beautiful city.
I wanted to find out about the suburbs where these riots were born. Commonly known in France as the banlieue, these suburbs are home to millions of immigrants and hit the headlines in 2005 with riots that lasted over 30 days.
In 2005, there's been this riots, which scared many people in France. But it is not in Paris, in the center of Paris, it's in the suburbs.
I need to go to these suburbs, but it seems even the local Parisians are fearful of these areas.
In the transports, usually in the area, a lot of people, just general public, were attacked, assaulted for no reason.
When I have troubles also is when I take the train to go back home in my suburb at night. When I take the last train, all the people from the suburbs are taking the last train as well, and if they want to make a little bit of money, they can take it from you. Even myself, the way I'm dressed, I'm not really rich or anything. I was afraid to lose my mobile. I felt completely like they could punch me in the face. It happened before to me.
I'm hoping journalist Anthony Headley, who's been reporting on the escalating trouble in the banlieue, can explain why people in these neighbourhoods are so angry.
They're not immigrants. They're the sons of the immigrants. They're more French than the French today, except their color of skin is not white, and therefore they're excluded.
Rioting against the police is nothing new in French society. In 1968, about 800,000 students, teachers and workers marched through the French capital, clashing with police and demanding the fall of the government under Charles de Gaulle. But the riots of '68 defined an era and changed France forever, ushering in a more liberal and open society, the France of today. Whereas the riots of the 21st century are being largely ignored.
You either have a situation of riots, or you have a situation nobody speaks about at the moment, because nobody wants to hear about it. It's like, it's over there, we never go there, we don't want to see these guys, let's not deal with this issue.
Ignoring the situation in the banlieue for so long has only made matters worse, as the rioting is now starting to creep into the centre of Paris.
It's a new development that what's happening in the suburbs comes into the center of Paris. A lot of people do feel afraid. Paris lives from tourism, so they want to keep everything nice and safe so that, the tourists keep coming and keep bringing their money here.
I want to venture out to these apparently lawless suburbs to discover what is causing all this rioting. But before I do, I've heard about a neighbourhood within inner Paris that is just as tough, called La Goutte d'Or in the 18th arrondissement. Only 2 miles away from some of Paris's most famous landmarks, where one wrong turn by an unwitting tourist could lead to serious consequences. I'm meeting with 2 local dealers to try and find out how tough this neighbourhood really is. As these guys are active criminals, they need to keep their identity concealed.
What would happen if a tourist came marching down the street?
Ouais, c'est des petits qui vont lui voler, mais sinon ceux qui vendent, ils vont rien faire du tout. Par exemple, si tu passes à rue Mira en voiture, ils prennent ta voiture normal. Carjacking.
Carjacking? Yeah. Common, normal?
Non, c'est pas vraiment commun, mais c'est normal.
As a tourist, we come here and we see Montmartre, we see the Eiffel Tower, and but we don't get to see the life that you guys live. How very different is your life to the view that tourists get to see?
On vend du crack et du shit, mais le crack ça marche mieux. On fait plus d'argent avec le crack. Maximum 2000 euros
par jour.
2000 euros par jour.
Do you carry knives?
Ouais, des fois, mais quand on a une arme, c'est pour tuer quelqu'un. La plupart du temps, ceux qui ont des armes, c'est ceux qui ont des problèmes à cause de la drogue. Ils vendent dans un territoire ou un autre.
Il y a plein de gens qui doivent avoir des armes
Ouais, tout le monde a des armes.
And how would you defend your territory if you come back and somebody's on your street corner?
La plupart du temps, ça se tire dessus.
Is this votre vie? C'est bon?
C'est la merde. C'est pourri, mais c'est comme ça. On s'y fait, on est habitué. Normal.
And if this is what the disaffected youth of the supposed affluent centre are feeling, it makes me wonder what the young people cut off from Parisian society out in the banlieue think about their situation. I'm heading out there tomorrow, and it makes me wonder what I'll find. The next morning, I spotted an article in the newspaper that added to my fears about going to the banlieue. It was a story about a Hollywood production starring John Travolta that had paid a high price for using the banlieue as a gritty backdrop for their film.
Torched production vehicles, thousands and thousands of pounds worth of damage. The film is called From Paris with Love, but this is from the banlieue with love and the media. Welcome to town. We're going to burn out your production vehicles.
I'm now on my way to a notoriously violent housing project called Les Bosquets, 17 kilometres from the centre of Paris, which saw the worst of the rioting in 2005. The riot started when two teenagers were tragically killed by electrocution in a chase with the police at a local power station. The deaths provoked outrage and provided a spark for the most violent riots in a generation. The riots in the Bosquets lasted for 20 days, and a state of emergency was declared when they spread across the whole of France. Over 100 police officers were injured, nearly 3,000 people were arrested, and the French taxpayer was left with a bill of over 200 million euros. I've been put in touch with someone called Zid, who I'm told is one of the neighbourhood heavies.
We're all, except for the crew, just a little apprehensive because this is a very dodgy and dangerous area, and particularly for strangers, and it's incredibly poor. We've been warned about our safety, but I'm about to meet a guy who assures me that he'll personally take us under his wing and look after us because he's connected.
I felt like I was entering a war zone.